Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level speaking lesson, and today we're going to be talking about International Women's Day. Because this is a speaking lesson, I'd encourage you to answer the prompts aloud, and if you would like some feedback on your answers, you can either type them in the comments or you can record a video of yourself and post it on TikTok or Instagram, and I'll put the hashtag in the video description below. So what do you know about this holiday? What is Women's Day? Well, first we're going to look at some vocabulary words. So match the nouns to their definitions. You can pause the video while you do this and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. So treating one person or group of people less well than other groups of people would be discrimination. The role that is given to people who are male or female, that is gender. Men and women, people of different races, religions, etc. are all treated fairly and have the same opportunities. That's equality. Something a person has which people think should not be taken away is the right to do something. And when a group of people come together in public to show others that they strongly like or dislike a social condition or government policy, that is a protest. Here are a few more. These are verbs and adjectives to match with their meanings. To make a choice or to show an opinion would be to fight for. Not afraid to do things that are difficult or scary, that would be brave. There's a mistake here. So not afraid to do things that are difficult or scary is brave. And to work hard for a goal is to fight for it. To walk with other people who are all walking the same way, that is a march. To make someone feel that they want to do something and can do it, that would be to inspire. To show others that they strongly like or dislike a social condition or government policy, that's a protest. And to make a choice or show an opinion is to vote. Alright, so now we can read about Women's Day and answer the questions. Again, you can pause the video and read on your own. I'd encourage you to read aloud to practice your pronunciation, or you can follow along as I read. Women's Day has been celebrated since the early 1900s. In 1908, 15,000 women marched through New York City to ask for shorter working hours, better pay, and the right to vote. In 1909, the first National Women's Day was celebrated in the U.S. on February 28th. Women's Day was celebrated on the last Sunday of February until 1913, when it was changed to March 8th. In 1910, a woman named Clara Zetkin from Germany suggested that having an International Women's Day every year in every country. Everyone at the International Conference of Working Women agreed, and the International Women's Day began. In 1975, the United Nations made International Women's Day an official holiday, and since then it has become popular in countries all around the world. In recent years, the world's thoughts about women and equality have changed a lot. Women have taken large steps toward equality, but there are still things to fight for. So why did women protest in 1908? They wanted to ask for shorter working hours, better pay, and the right to vote. When was the first Women's Day celebrated? The first National Women's Day was celebrated on February 28th, 1909. And who suggested having a Women's Day all over the world? A woman from Germany named Clara Zetkin. And when did the UN say that Women's Day was an international holiday? That was in 1975. So do you think it's important to celebrate Women's Day and why? And again, remember to answer aloud, type your answers in the comments, or you can record yourself and post your video. Are women treated the same as men in your native country? What can you do to support the equal treatment of men and women? And how can you encourage more girls to choose careers in science and technology? So can you name a woman who has done something important? We had Amelia Earhart. She was a famous female pilot. Florence Nightingale. She's considered the mother of modern nursing. Mother Teresa helped the poor people in India. Marie Curie was a scientist. Queen Elizabeth II has been the longest reigning monarch in England's history. Malala Yousafzai was a young woman who was shot and then recovered, and since then has been speaking out for on behalf of education for women and girls. Michelle Obama was the first African American First Lady in the United States, and Susan B. Anthony was one of the women who fought for women's rights to vote. All right, so we're going to read about Malala Yousafzai and then answer the questions. Again, you can pause the video and read on your own or follow along as I read. Malala Yousafzai is a brave woman who comes from Pakistan. She has become famous around the world for her work helping to get education for girls and fighting against the Taliban, a group that tried to stop girls from going to school in her home country. She's the youngest person ever to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, and she continues to work hard to fight for gender equality around the world. So where is Malala Yousafzai from? She's from Pakistan. What does she care about? Gender equality and education for girls and fighting against the Taliban. And what is Malala the youngest person to do? She's the youngest to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. And Wangari Maathai. Wangari Maathai was a woman from Kenya who worked to make her country a better place. She cared a lot about the environment and believed that protecting the natural world was important. In the 1970s, Wangari started the Greenbelt movement, which encouraged people to plant trees. She inspired people to work together to improve their local communities and protect the environment. Wangari also worked to support democracy and human rights in Kenya. She was the first African woman to receive the Nobel Peace Prize for her work. So where is Wangari Maathai from? She's from Kenya. What did she care most about? She cared about the environment and protecting the natural world. What movement did she start? She started the Greenbelt movement. And why? It was to encourage people to plant trees. And what other things are special about Wangari Maathai? She inspired people to improve their local communities, protect the environment, and she worked to support democracy, human rights in Kenya, and she was the first African woman to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Marie Curie was a very famous scientist who lived in the late 1800s and early 1900s. She was born in Poland and later moved to France. She is famous for her discoveries in science. She was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, and she inspired many other women to study science, to study and work in science. So where was Marie Curie born? She was born in Poland. And what did she study? Science. And what did Marie Curie inspire other women to do, inspired them to study and to work in science. So now, use the information below to create some sentences about these famous women. Mother Teresa, an Albanian Indian Catholic nun, helped the poor and sick in India. Ada Lovelace, an English mathematician and writer, the world's first computer programmer. Florence Nightingale was a nurse during the Crimean War who helped to care for soldiers. Queen Reina of Jordan supports health, education, health, and women's rights, inspires change. Angela Merkel was the first female chancellor of Germany and one of the world's most powerful women for 16 years. Now, a march is an event which a large number of people walk through a public place to show their support for something. A protest is the act of saying or showing to others that you do not support something. So have you ever joined a march or a protest? What types of things do people march for? And what things do people protest against? Now complete the sentences with the words below. In Russia, Women's Day is a public holiday. It is celebrated with flowers, chocolate, and special gifts for women. Men often give gifts to the women in their lives, and there are also parades and concerts that celebrate women. In Italy, Women's Day is celebrated with yellow flowers and a mimosa cake, which is made with almonds, eggs, and sugar. In many countries, Women's Day is celebrated with marches and protests that fight for women's rights. Now, think of a woman who has inspired you and describe that person. And again, you can either do this in the comments or you can record yourself and post the video. And here are some examples to give you some ideas. But you want to talk about what qualities this woman has and what did she inspire you to do. My English teacher, Ms. Wells, taught me many things. She taught me English, but she also taught me that it is important to work hard, and she showed me that learning can be fun. My mother is my best friend. She is kind, intelligent, and strong. She taught me many things, like how to make pancakes, how to dance, but the most important thing she taught me is how to always be kind to others. And my grandmother is a woman that I admire. She was very poor when she was a child, but she worked hard and was the first woman in her family to go to university. All right, so some review questions. What is Women's Day? When is it celebrated? Why is it celebrated? Who started it? How is Women's Day celebrated around the world? And what are some ways to show support for Women's Day? And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, participate in the comments, make those videos, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.